All right, Facebook Nation, we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. So just hang tight. We've got some pretty intense thunderstorms prowling around the state right now. These are producing isolated pockets of damaging wind gust. Some localized flash flooding is ongoing as well. We have seen and heard reports of that flash flooding. We're sending a reporter right now over to Perry Hill Road for the possibility of some flooding there. So that's sort of what we're up against at the current moment. So I'll get this going and get this going. And I am, as always, your host, your pal, your friend. Some of those things anyway. Josh Johnson here, as always. It's nice to be with you on a not so pleasant evening. Wish we had better storm news here, but this is what radar looks like right now. You see it there. We'll dive into the details on that momentarily. By the way, it's 5:41 in the evening as you were watching this live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're a YouTuber, just head over to YouTube, search Josh Johnson Weather, and you can hop on there. We post the live videos over there as well on a daily basis. So we'll go kind of double screen here. So we've got some pretty active thunderstorms, and really there's three sort of main areas that are causing us some indigestion this evening. One is out west, big intense cluster of storms out here west central Alabama. The other one more close to home, Millbrook, Cusata, Prattville area. And then a really intense cluster of storms over here into parts of Lee, southern Tallapoosa, and into Chambers County. So we'll take the radar full screen here, and I'll zoom in. We will begin with potentially the strongest core of storms that we have. It's right over here. So Lochapoka, the north side of Auburn, Farmville, the Bottle. Those would all be places where we are seeing some really intense thunder, lightning, gusty wind. We're also dealing with that torrential rain. We've had some reports of isolated flash flooding. If you're just jumping on this, we've had some reports of flooding along Perry Hill Road near the VA. So we're sending a photographer from the newsroom over there now to get a handle on what's happening there, and damaging wind also possible in a few locations as well. So again, this would be over into parts of Lee, southern Tallapoosa, southern Chambers County. We will animate this out. This whole mess is kind of diving and riding an outflow boundary down towards the southeast. So heads up, Opelika, Auburn, I-85, Chihuahua State Park, the John Deere facility, 51 South, Beauregard, that area. So central Lee County is next, and eventually I think southern and eastern Lee County will get in on some of this. Now, as it moves towards the southeast, some of it will begin to weaken somewhat. So that's not unusual, just so you know. We see that with some frequency. With these summertime thunderstorms, they're kind of these pulse storms that pop up and pop back down fairly quickly. Then, okay, let's get back into the river region here, and we'll swap the camera views out here so that it's a little easier to see the important stuff, which my hairline is not the important stuff. So this storm, the Montgomery part of this has weakened considerably. You can see here in the capital city, leftover rain out here, out near the airport and on the west side of Maxwell Air Force Base. But that's just kind of nuisance rain. The heavy part of this storm now is up to the north side of Prattville. So this would be up near Prattville High School, exit 186, the Pine Level exit there. Torrential rain, lots of lightning, probably some damaging wind gusts in that. And the storm motion here is relatively slow, so it is not out of the question that we deal with localized flash flooding in spots here. Not everyone will have that, but in a few locations, we could very well get some. Then last but certainly not least, let me switch radars because Birmingham will give us a better look in here. West Alabama. Whew. So a couple of different things we're seeing on radar now. The initial severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for this storm, the core seems to have collapsed on that. So we have probably had within the last 5 minutes some damaging wind gusts along Highway 80 near Faunsdale. So don't be surprised if you live in the Faunsdale area. That's kind of happening right now. The first alert we can give you is for this down here. Check this out. This is a really intense cluster or core right here within this thunderstorm. This would be west of Orville, kind of along, I guess that's Highway 22 there in southwestern Dallas County. So If you live far southwestern Dallas County, see that bright purple core there. Let me zoom in even closer. So eventually what's going to happen, this is showing you what's something called water loading. There is a ton of water being thrown thousands of feet up into the air here. And what goes up must come down. Eventually these pulse-style thunderstorms will lose the ability to keep all that water held up in the sky, and it'll all collapse. We call it a microburst. It's a small scale thing, but it is important. It is a very important thing. So this would be a situation where we could have damaging wind gusts out here in a very small area. This would be along Alabama Highway 22, just a bit west of downtown Orrville. So if you live out in this part of the world, please stay inside. If you don't have to drive, don't do that. This isn't a tornado situation, but it is a situation where you could have some very intense wind gusts on a localized basis. This is not something that's going to be widespread, but if you live really right there along Highway 5, near the intersection with 22, so Safford, there's the Safford General Store that's out there in western Dallas County, so State Route 5 just north of 22, damaging wind gusts are very likely there within the next 5 minutes. This is something that happens very short fuse. No official severe thunderstorm warning with this, but don't be surprised if you have a pocket or two of damaging wind that develops here. And then the other broader concern here, this whole cluster of storms isn't moving very much, and it's sort of back building. So see at the beginning of the animation, most of the storms are here, but see these new storms popping back here. So the end result there is you've got this kind of very broad area where we are having some torrential rain, probably going to deal with isolated, localized flash flooding within that as well. So that's where we stand as of 5:47 in the evening on the 13th day of July, 2022. These summertime storms, man, this is what they do. And understand, you go 10 miles up the road, it's probably not even raining. So it's all very localized, all very, your backyard may not get the same thing your front yard's getting. It really is that level of kind of localization here with these intense thunderstorms. So that's where we kind of find things right now. So I'll dive in. If we have any questions, leave those in the comments. Lots of folks watching. Internet with Spectrum is out right now. Midtown Internet out on the Spectrum side. Good little rainstorm in the Booth area. Not really raining much now, but lightning and thundering. Yeah, I'll buy that. Booth is back in Autauga County over here. That's a pretty intense little cell that's fired right there. Let's do this just to make us all feel better. See what the wind situation is like in this storm. Don't see anything terribly off the charts concerning. With limited low-level wind shear, you typically don't see any tornadoes with these summertime storms. But you always have to keep your eye on the ball when it comes to this stuff. Justin Fast says hello. Hey, Justin, hope you're doing well. Heavy thunder and crazy lightning in Auburn. Yeah, I buy that. That storm over there, that's the real deal Holyfield. That storm is big. Tons of lightning, very slow mover. So if you live north of Auburn, along 431 north of Auburn, flash flooding is going to be a concern there in northern Lee and southern Chambers counties. What about the Gulf? Not concerned about the Gulf anymore. That area of low pressure down there kind of got elongated, stretched apart. The National Hurricane Center now really says no real chance of tropical development down there. As I said on television a few times, even if it had developed, it really wouldn't have mattered very much. The end result is just an increase in rain chances. So it didn't really, whether it developed or not, if they had called that thing a depression or a storm, frankly, it would have kind of just padded the number. It would have been rain with a name. That was never going to be a big hurricane kind of situation, thank goodness. Speaking of hurricanes, our summer weather special airs next Saturday night, the 23rd, 10 days from now. And the focus is on specifically the triple threat from tropical systems, hurricanes. There are three things that hurricanes do that cause significant loss of life. That is storm surge, flooding, and obviously wind. We dive into great detail on all three things. We actually kind of call it a Mount Rushmore of Alabama hurricanes. We take you to the places in Alabama that have been hit hardest by storm surge, by strong winds, by flooding rains in previous hurricanes. We discuss what happened with those storms. We discuss what may happen with the rest of the hurricane season. So again, this is airing on WSFA next Saturday night, the 23rd at 6:30. So we encourage you to check that out. Gina has a great point. At least it's not 96 degrees. Amen to that. Power flashing off on and off in Auburn, and it's about to get worse, Auburn. Auburn, unfortunately, is just on the leading edge of this whole complex of thunderstorms. So that's that. Prattville, things are getting worse there too. Let me go back to the radar and show you. So the way that thing is moving, that's coming right down into Prattville right now. So just a first alert heads up, it's already pouring on the north end of town, but if you live down kind of along Highway 31 South, 82, the bypass there on the south side of Prattville, down McQueen Smith, down Sheila Boulevard, it's about to start raining very, very hard for you. Already raining hard again up near the junior high school, near Mac Gray, Prattville High School, Independence and Booth out 82, Deatsville, Elmore, Cusata, Millbrook over in Elmore County, pouring rain there as well. So there's that core right there we've been talking about over near Safford along Highway 5. That thing probably going to collapse soon. So when it does, there will probably be a very localized area of damaging wind that develops along Highway 5 near Safford in southwestern Dallas County. Is it heading southeast towards the Dothan and Enterprise area? That's a good question. Let me zoom things out. No, you're fine. All this stuff probably dies out before it gets to you. Kathleen says, lightning extremely close to my house on the north side of Auburn, kicking back up in the Booth area. Melanie says, hey, Josh, my son will be leaving Birmingham to come to Prattville in the next 30 minutes. Should we be concerned about road and weather conditions? Most of that drive would be fine. The storm, the only thing between Birmingham and Prattville right now is that storm that's over the north side of Prattville. Odds are good that it would be gone or dissipated or moved out of the way by the time your son got there, if he's leaving in the next 30 minutes. Still, tell him to kind of be careful. Obviously, it's always good advice. But I think the heavy rain, the thunder, the lightning situation, he probably would not have to deal with much of that leaving in the next 30 minutes. Summertime storms, though, can pop at any moment. So unless something new pops, he'll miss out on most of what we have ongoing right now. So the three amigos, we'll call them, like the movie, the Steve Martin movie. You've got the, we'll call it the Uniontown storm, the Prattville storm, and the Auburn storm. They're all slowly drifting to the southeast. The slow movement of these storms means that flash flooding is a concern. Is the rain done in East Montgomery? Ronnie asked. Ronnie, for now, yes, but that could change any minute now. And there's a couple of showers along 231 South out of East Montgomery. And then this whole mess up here, all of this is very slowly drifting southeast. Now, a lot of this may die out before it gets to you, but if it holds together, it could bring some heavy rain into East Montgomery sometime after 6:30. So you're getting at least a temporary break for sure. How about Andalusia? I think everything looks all right down in that part of the state. Yeah, you're good. There's nothing within 50 or 75 miles of Andalusia, so you don't have to worry about much of this stuff. Herman, same for you. Herman says it's quiet in Troy. It probably stays that way for a while anyway. May have storms later on this evening, but so far so good. Go back to the radar here. Hey, Josh, there's ponding on Bell Road. I buy that. What about Opelika and Beauregard? Very intense thunderstorms now moving into Opelika especially. Now, Beauregard is staying south of most of this for now, but let's switch back over to the Maxwell radar. It's a lot closer. We get better data there. So Beauregard, for now, you're all right. There's actually a little outflow boundary dropping out of those storms to the north. If you look carefully, you can see it. That's it right there. That little thin blue line. That's an outflow boundary. That's these storms up here producing cool air that rushes out from that storm. And that rush of air actually kicks up dust, insects, things like that, and can often show up on radar, especially if we're close to the radar site as we are here. So this may cause some new storm development out here, Macon, southern Lee County, as it moves on towards the south. So just know that that's out there. For Beauregard, though, you've got a solid 30 minutes before any of this gets to you. It's raining now, but that's just kind of nuisance-style rain. The heavier rain and storms are Auburn and back up to the north. Let's see. What my kids and husband, Lake Martin, moving a boat from Jackson's Gap to Eclectic. Will they be okay? Yes, they will be. The shower over the lake, they may have gotten wet already, but the shower there is falling apart. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But for now, Lake Martin looks like things will improve there in the next 15 to 20 minutes. What about Highland Home? You're good for now. More storms could pop later, but right now, Highland Home, we don't see anything on the map that has our concern. How about Burnsville? Same thing. You're kind of between storms in Burnsville. The Dallas and Marengo storms going west of you, the Prattville-Elmore storms going east of you. So you're living right there. Is Elmore in effect as well? Yeah, there's some very heavy rain in far western Elmore County, Coushatta, Millbrook, Deatsville. But really from Wetumpka and Wallsboro points east in Elmore County, nothing really that catches our eye there. Anything headed towards Barber County? I am actually. Actually, I have a school visit tomorrow in Eufaula. But weather-wise, no, Tammy. You're fine for the next hour, 2 hours. Veronica asking about Millbrook. Yeah, there's a storm on top of Millbrook right now. The heaviest core of that is up along 14, but the way it's moving, it's going to come down into downtown Millbrook, closer to Smokehouse Barbecue and Ronnie Smith Builders and the Rex and some of those areas there in Millbrook proper, kind of downtown Millbrook, if you will. So the core of that storm is really still up here and back here. But the way it's moving, it's going to slide down into Prattville, down into Millbrook, down into Coushatta. Hillary asking about Lee County. We've talked about that quite a bit already. Pretty intense cluster of storms, mainly northern Lee for now. But the way it's moving, that's going to affect central Lee, northeastern Lee, and north central Lee. So Auburn, Opelika, and points east from there, you will get storms later. Right now, most of it is still a little bit west of you. Alrighty, it's 5:57. I've got to go. Why? Well, the news is coming on. So get off Facebook, get on your television, and watch WSFA 12 News at 6. You can watch it on our OTT apps as well. Roku, Apple TV. We're on all the big major players there. Just search WSFA. If all those fail, you can actually watch our live newscast in the weather app. If you open up the weather app, you scroll down to the bottom. There's a huge button that says Watch Live. Click that. You'll watch a 15-second commercial, and then you're in. You're watching the newscast. So you've got lots of ways to stay informed, even when we are not on Facebook Live. These Facebook Lives are informational, but they're kind of an added bonus. The core products we produce that really help keep you ahead of the storms are geared towards our weather app, our television newscast, and our website. So big reminder, check those out quite a bit. All righty, appreciate the conversation as always. Good to visit with everyone. Hope everyone's life is rolling along nicely, and we will see you on WSFA 12 News at 6, which starts in a minute.